let me show you the question paper of a prominent school for the standard 6 English. One of the questions, I just read it. Write a letter to the principal of your school asking him or her to grant you leave for 5 days to attend your uncle's marriage. Yes, of course, we have written such letters and essays as part of our school English subject. But outside the class, what we do nowadays in order to write such letters? We go to the ChatGPT or any large language model and give some simple prompt, and it could be able to provide the corresponding letters very nice way. Within the school, we try to learn language, mathematics, code. We try to understand, analyze, criticize. All these things we do 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. But outside the class, all these things could be able to be automatically done by the machine with a split of a second. Then obviously that uncomfortable question comes. What we learn in the school is becoming outdated? If so, what should we do? And that is what we try to do in today's episode of Truly AI. I am Dr. C.B. Abraham. Let us understand what had happened. For that, consider this sentence. Last week, I had gone to the, to the beach, to the garden, to the shopping mall, to your friend, and correspondingly your brain could be able to fix it. And this is what exactly happened in the case of AI also. Instead of we human beings are exposed to maybe thousands of such sentences, the machine works with not thousands but millions and billions, and correspondingly it could be able to choose the word which is more relevant to it. The whole sentence is divided into different small pieces, probability comes into play, and correspondingly the word which is having more similar to occur, and correspondingly that will be provided, and correspondingly the language is created, and this is giving some sort of a intelligent like behavior, and that is what the machine does. If you look back, and similar training is happening in the case of school. We teach students to generate similar language, computation, code, and this type of things in fact could be able to be done by the machine by the split of a second. That doesn't mean that the human being becomes less intelligent, but only thing is that the machine could be able to generate which needed years of training in the school, and that faculty could be able to be delivered by the machine easily. Then the question comes, then what should we do in the schools? If we can use AI, let us see how effectively we could use AI. Let us start with a simple example. Explain gravity. The response provided by AI, it is more generic in sense, and suppose we want to customize to a 10-year-old child. You are a teacher, explain gravity to a 10-year-old child in just 3 bullets. We customize the response, and here is the response. Gravity is a force that pulls things toward each other. Earth's gravity pulls everything toward its center. Gravity also works in space. That way, it has been made suitable to the level of a 10-year-old child. That shows that we can use AI, but in order to use AI, we need to have some sort of a hand-holding, and that should be taught in the school so that students should be able to understand how to use AI. Let us revisit the question paper. Suppose we write that letter to the principal using AI. Here is the prompt. Write a letter to the principal of school asking her to grant leave for 5 days to attend uncle's marriage. Student name, say Amit. School's name, XYZ school. Here is the draft letter. Yes, here is the letter. Subject, request for leave. Dear principal, I hope you are doing well. I am Amit, a student of XYZ school. I would like to, etc. Here we have a letter and it doesn't have all the full details. Obviously, we cannot take this letter as it is. We need to refine it. We need to provide some information. If you don't provide full information, AI will be filling that with unwanted thing and that will be creating issue. Therefore, just by providing some information, we cannot expect the AI to provide the expected result, and correspondingly we are supposed to provide full details, iteratively work with AI, and correspondingly finally the response provided by AI we have to choose whether we have to go ahead with or not, because at the end of the day the responsibility falls on you in order to choose what is the final output you want. Therefore, this requires a lot of responsibility and lot of hand holding. Let us consolidate what we have discussed in the last two experiments. Initially, we started with the context, then refined it, and each time we evaluated, and finally we have selected it. All these four things, let us make it simple in 4C. The first C, which is nothing but the context. The context will provide an information about the background of the prompt. We have provided about the uncle's marriage, the 5 days leave, letter to the principal, etc. The second is nothing but the craft, and craft is nothing but the continuously improving the responses provided by the model. We have seen that the first response provided by AI may not be correct. We need to fine tune by providing additional information and the way we want, whether the tone has to be much more official, much more gentle, and that type of information to be provided as part of the prompt. That is nothing but the craft. Third is nothing but check. Each time we need to check whether the model's response are matching with our expectations. If not, we need to craft the prompt accordingly so that the AI could be able to provide the anticipated response. And finally, the fourth C, which is nothing but the choose. Finally, we choose the response out of the different responses provided by the model. By choosing it, we take a lot of responsibility. Now onwards, we are owning that. If we cannot blame AI to provide the response, because after choosing it, it becomes our own product and we need to take the responsibility, and that way it is a very responsible act. Therefore, using these 4 C's, the context, craft, check, and choose, we could be able to make use of AI in a much better, efficient way, and that way we could be able to instruct AI in order to provide or in order to generate what we want. Let us remember 4 C's: context, craft, check, and choose. In order to make it more formalized, let us call it as AI literacy framework. This proposed AI literacy framework consists of 4 pillars. The first one, understanding AI. Remember, by providing the context to the letter to the principal, we are getting the responses each time in a slightly better or different way, and that helps the student to understand how AI works. If you don't provide the proper context, AI will not be able to give the response nicely. Therefore, this understanding helps the student to use AI effectively. Therefore, the first pillar, understanding AI. The second, by crafting the prompt on a regular, nice fashion, the student could be able to make the AI to provide better responses. Therefore, student has to interact with AI in order to provide a better response each time. Therefore, students should be taught that whatever the responses provided by AI cannot be taken, the child has to interact on a regular basis so that AI could be able to be guided in order to provide the response the child looking for. The third aspect is nothing but the evaluating. By checking the responses each time, the student should be able to taught that evaluation is the responsibility of the child. Therefore, by checking the efficiency, the accuracy, and correctness of the response provided by AI, and child becomes custodian of the responses. And finally, the responsible AI. Whatever the response provided by AI cannot be taken for granted. The child has to check it, and finally the whatever the satisfied responses provided by AI is chosen by the student, and that is a responsible act. Now onwards, the student cannot blame AI in order for the response, and when it is used in the real life, and the student is responsible for that, and that way usage of AI is a responsible act. Therefore, by taking care of these 4 aspects, the understanding AI, interacting with AI, evaluating AI, and finally the responsible AI, we could be able to make this AI literacy framework as part of the school curriculum, so that students should be able to use AI in an efficient, effective and responsible fashion. Therefore, we could be able to have slight different perspective in terms of the way present school curriculum works. Now onwards, student should be able to focus more on understanding than on the answering. The teacher will be able to understand that concepts are more important than the answers received by the student, and corresponding evaluation mechanism can be changed. And parent should be able to understand that the marks are not very important. The understanding of the changing scenario and how the child could be able to utilize that in the real world, that is more important. In this way, we could be able to make the school learning as a much more meaningful, effective and fruitful experience. This is my evening coffee. I love coffee. Making a coffee is so simple. Anyone could be able to make coffee just by following the recipe. But tasting coffee, becoming a good coffee taster is much more difficult task. Similar is the case with AI. AI could be able to generate, but evaluating, judging and choosing the best response provided by AI is much more creative, much more skill required job. A student no longer need to worry about generating, but student should be able to be taught how to judge, how to evaluate and how to choose the different responses provided by AI. And that should be the skill we should be teaching in the schools. Remember, making coffee is easy, but tasting coffee and choosing the best coffee is much creative, much sought after skill, and that is what we should be aiming at in the school. Thank you for watching. If you love this video, kindly like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Till then, truly AI.